from the Chibok girls' abduction in 2014 to the death of Sylvester Oromoni and Anifa Abubakar in 2021. We cannot but conclude that the security level in schools have to be generally reviewed. One question, however, that we cannot but ask is that for students to learn in a military-like environment and serious restriction of movement, how much will it affect their general psyche? We're talking about security in schools this morning, and to do justice to that, we have in the studio our guest. But before we unveil our guest this morning, we want to see what our picture frame looks like. And welcome back. In the studio with us this morning, we have Ronke Adeni, popularly called Ronke Posh. She's an educationist and the CEO of Ronke Posh School. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting me. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good to have you.
Yes, good to have you this morning. Yes, talking about security in schools. I know that you're so passionate about what has been happening in the recent times in our schools. But let's start from here. How actually did we get here?
How did we get here?
Honestly, because like I said in my intro, I said that those days we used to be afraid about, we used to talk about the fear about security in school is children wandering outside the school premises. That was all we cared about those days. But now it's a different ball game. What happened? Where did we get it wrong? And how did we land where we are?
I mean, our values. What are our core values as a nation? What are our beliefs? What do we really believe what we say in the national anthem and our pledge? Those core values and the family, they are not really taking their position anymore in the lives of people. So people do whatever it is that they want. If you don't have your core values and if you don't have love for one another, the basic empathy for one another is not there, the respect, the value of leadership, the value of hard work. If those things are not there, then you find that people just do whatever they want. They want to live very fast. They want to have everything yesterday. And they will do whatever it takes to get whatever they want. And if that involves kidnapping people, being in rituals, and just sacrificing anything to get what they want, then they will do it. So how did we get there? We got there because we have neglected our old-fashioned values.
Okay, talking about neglecting fashion values, do you not think that the state of the economy has added a lot to all of this? You know, because I feel that what you are saying is that parents are not really doing what they are supposed to do, or they are not doing what our parents used to do. So do you not think the situation of the country, the economic situation of the country has led to all of this, and we are having the rippling effect of insecurity in schools?
it's not only the parents, but also our leadership.
Okay.
But when you think about the leadership, what are their own core values as well? Because the leaders also come from the families. So the situation of the country, I mean, we have a lot of corruption. We read it in the news all the time. Somebody has stolen X billion, somebody has stolen. What are the consequences for those actions? So if our leadership are getting away with blue murder, for lack of a better word, they're getting away with anything, then it's still us not facing those core values, not giving people the right consequences for bad behavior, and so people will just continue to do it. If I take 5 million today, nothing happens, then why won't I try for 50 million and tell someone that they turned into a bag of snakes or something like that? You know, anything happens these days, and we just move on.
So where do we go from here?
I mean, if we really want to be serious as a nation, we have to start with our families individually, and we have to be sure of the people that we actually elect into leadership. We can't vote for someone and then we start making noise. Once you've voted for the person, you have to support the person and keep praying for the person that the person does a good job. Once you've voted for them and they're not delivering, then it's on you. It's not on the person, because they did not vote themselves in, as difficult as it may be, as unpleasant as it may be. We just have to ensure that when 2023 comes, we are electing the right people. We are speaking up and we are coming out. We're not sitting in our homes and expecting that the change will happen. You know, they say insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You must do something to get the change that you want.
Interesting. Yes. Well, the core of our discussion really today is on security in our schools. And of course, it cuts across so many divides. You know, many parts have to come together to ensure that we have security in our schools. Well, why not holding brief for the government, which of course, as you seem to have been talking, and it seems to be landing on the side or on the table of the government. Now, why not holding brief for them? With the myriads of challenges of insecurity all over the country today. It's not only in schools, you know, so, and our security architecture, don't you think perhaps it's because our security architecture have been overwhelmed? That's why we're seeing some of these things.
What do you mean by security architecture?
Well, I mean our security generally.
Our police force.
No, beyond police force. The military, they're all over the place.
Yeah, so all the officials that should be doing that.
Yes.
But it's not the duty of the public. It's still the duty of the government. Is it you and I that will fix the police?
I know.
No, it's still the leadership.
You know, I agree with you. I agree with you. But we're not, saying it as if the government aren't doing anything. I mean,
nobody is saying they're not doing anything, but we need more.
Okay.
We need more, because we can see that so many things are going on. If you want to travel from here to the east, I don't know the last time my parents were able to go to Kogi State, because there's so many challenges. Sadly, my dad lost his sister lost the husband not long ago, and normally we would travel to Kogi State or Ilorin by road. And this is what my dad has done. Even growing up, we've always done that. We'll travel at Easter, summer, and December. But he doesn't go anymore. They don't go anymore, and they miss home so much. But because he had to be in Ilorin, he had to fly at 82, and he doesn't want to be doing that anymore. But he had to do that because of security challenges. You know, another friend of mine whose dad had died had told me that I have to go through Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and I'm thinking, I don't want to go and help somebody do funeral, then it to be my own that they're doing next. You know, everybody has that at the back of their minds, and who is going to fix that? It's not just you and I. We need to put people in place to do that, you know. And if, for example, the government, if they have the police force, the military, all those people, and those people are well paid and they're happy, and the bribe is not, is not what they come to work to collect, and they have the best interest of the public at heart, then our nation will be keen to get the transformation that it deserves.
Okay, sadly, this is where we find ourselves today. Now, looking at the present day situation and a remedy for the present day, as in, okay, 2023 is still there. We would say children shouldn't go to school before 2023. What do you think? Because a lot of, yes, Lagos, we are in Lagos and it's a bit fine and relaxed in Lagos. But unfortunately, we hear of, when we talk about insecurity in schools now, we're not talking about the kidnapping, the abductions alone. We're talking about bullying, like we had in the case of Sylvester and all of that. What should the school owners, what should the school itself and the community as a whole, what should we be doing?
I mean, there's a lot to do. an ongoing process. You know, you don't just review security policies and security processes in a school just once. It should be an ongoing thing. It should be obvious. It should be ongoing conversations that you should be having in your team. And we're not all right in Lagos, because we hear some of these stories, but we don't hear all the stories. I mean, we heard of the children that were going home from school and were crushed to death by a truck. We did hear that. That happened in Lagos. And then what happened after that? You know, what's the aftercare for the children? Were they called to come and write their exams after that? Are we even securing the mental health of our children as a nation? So we have to consider so many things. It's not just in Lagos. So when you say school owners, I mean, the thing is, who are the people that are school owners? I've started to ask myself this question, especially when Hanifa's incident happened. And I just thought to myself, you know, the school is a second home for the children. The school is somewhere that they should feel safe. They should feel safe and loved in school. Yes. So if the person who actually owns the school is the person that committed this hideous crime, then how safe are our children? Who are the people that are opening these schools? You know, how desperate are they? How hungry are they? Because according to what I've read, he actually was in debt and needed some money. And then you feel the need that it's a pupil in your school that you're going to use as a sacrificial lamb. So who are you that is opening the school? So even if I talk from now till tomorrow that do this, do that, if you don't have those values I'm talking about, if you don't have love, empathy as an individual, you're going to do these things. So what am I talking about? Saying, okay, review security policies, have CCTV in your school all the time, make sure that you don't have too many exits in your school, make sure your fences are high, make sure this and that. So many things where we can talk about, hundreds and hundreds of things we can talk about. But who are the people? Are they hungry people that are opening schools these days? How desperate are they? Do we need to even check their finances before they open a school?
That's where I'm coming to.
Because if you are so broke and you open a school, then you want to kidnap a child. I can't fathom it. My mind cannot fathom it.
What do you think we should do? Because like in the case of Hanifa Abubakar's case, the Kano state government decided to shut down all private schools. Now you're talking about who are the people opening the schools? What is their state of mind? What is their financial, capability before going into this venture? So what would you, if you want to advise the government, what would you say should be looked into before giving approval to schools?
I think background checks should be done for those people that for all of us, really, because I run a school as well. I will not exempt myself. Yes. Thankfully, I'm not one of the hungry ones. So, but a background check should be done so that they can see and screen and know the kind of individual that this person is. I mean, there are jobs where you are working in a bank and things like that. They do a background check. So they don't do, I don't know that they do that in schools. Should we introduce a background check for people? What resources do they have when they start this school? Are they, because a lot of them, you hear it all the time that a lot of people don't pay salaries to their teachers for months and months and months and months. Is it as a reflection of their financial status or greed? You know, so when these things are happening, how do the teachers escalate these matters? Because if you're not paying salaries and you have it, you're greedy. If you're not paying salaries because you don't have it, then there's an issue, and you expect to run a school. So perhaps if the pressure gets a lot, then you will do anything and sacrifice the children. And I must mention that closing the schools in Kano, where one school does something wrong. I just imagine that if there's fraud in one bank, do you close down all the other banks? If there's fraud or something happens in one organization, do you close everything else? And then if you close the school, what happens to the children in the time being? Because parents will not have made adequate preparations to have their children out of school. And then you expose them to more of abuse in terms of physical abuse, verbal abuse, neglect, because they might have to leave them alone at home, sexual abuse, all sorts of things. So when one person does something wrong, is it the right thing to do to punish everybody else? So I can imagine being in Kano, and I know how much I labor on a daily basis. I really don't have a life. I'm always in the school. I enjoy it. I like being there, but I'm always there. I'm giving my all. I'm learning all the time, and I'm growing, and I'm seeing the difference, the change. I'm speaking in the media all the time. I'm doing so much, and then somebody does something around the corner, and then you close my school. Does it make any sense?
Okay. So much to talk about security in schools. What would you say, because we just have to go, we just have to go. So what would you say moving forward? What would you say to the government, to school owners, and to parents as a whole, if you do that in 10 seconds?
If this government, if this country is not safe, and it isn't, then we will have difficulty keeping the schools safe. It has to start as a nation. The nation has to be safe for the schools to be safe. So it's very important that we do so.
Okay, the schools.
And for the schools, we just do background checks. We must constantly ensure that we have CCTV. We are checking the people coming in the school, the people that we are hiring into the schools. Be checking them. Don't just bring anybody off the street, even if they're cleaners or security, whoever it is. Make sure that you check them all the time. Go and know their homes. Know everything that you can about those people. Take their pictures. Do videos. Don't print, but anything that you can. Don't think that the information is too much. Just keep on getting information and data about people, and restrict movement during the daytime. Make sure that you have people looking, and the handlers, the school buses. There's so many things. Who are the people driving the school buses? The nannies. Because that's another avenue where people can actually kidnap children and do things like that. Make sure that you know the movement in and out. Don't let children just wander up and down without an adult, a responsible adult, a trusted adult being there, checking and making sure that they're safe.
All right. Thank you very much. It's been wonderful. It's been a beautiful time with our guests this morning. We've been talking to Ronke Adeniyi, popularly called Ronke Posh, this morning. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you.
It's always interesting having you,
so
in
much.
the studio. All right, we go on a short break. When we return, we give you more packages on the show.